We're here this evening because I want to reveal and discuss a much bigger galactic picture of why the reptilians have been here on Earth and 20 other planets, two of which are very much like Earth but don't have the diversity of Earth like we do down here with all the different cultures and languages and religions, etc. And I'm going to rewind for a moment to provide some baseline information. Most of the people will remember that there were two primary reasons that the Andromeda Council made a conscious decision to step in and intervene on behalf of the people of Earth. For people who are not familiar with the material, I'm just going to touch on it briefly. There was a meeting by the Andromeda Council to intervene years ago before this recent war in space began for the freedom of Earth and her people against the Draco and Hydra reptilians, and of course their Gray Alliance partners from Orion. And keep in mind, this war out in space, just beyond Earth space, ended around January, February 2011. And of course, the last undersea base was just cleared out about a month ago. So, back to the story about the intervention and how and why it was decided on by the Andromeda Council. There was a serious meeting held about a decision to intervene and help free the people of Earth. And the meeting was held because the Andromeda Council had become aware of an event sometime down our timeline, about 360 years, about 360 years in the future, that if allowed to happen, it would have had some major, big-time, catastrophic consequences for many people on many planets in the Milky Way galaxy. Now, another reason they decided to intervene was that they knew that this planet Earth and the people of Earth were coming into a time in the near future, which is actually now, which is a time of a transition, transformation and evolution, if you will, to becoming a higher dimensional world. And of course, the next step up for us is in the fourth dimension. And consequently, not only will this world become fourth dimensional, but so will our people. And the other reason that they decided to intervene is that they felt that Earth people at some level deserved to be able to make this evolutionary step as free and sovereign people and not being subversively dominated, manipulated, abused, controlled, used as a slave labor force, emotionally traumatized. We've had influence at the highest levels of power, government, and society, certainly at the highest levels of corporate banking, because for anybody that's paying attention, there have been, 400 or so resignations of top corporate bankers just in the past couple of months. And worse, Earth humans have been maimed, raped, eaten, taken as a natural resource, and had genetic and scientific experiments done on us by these Draco and Hydra reptilians. And the list goes on and on. This is, of course, really serious stuff. So they took both matters into consideration, and after some serious deliberation, they decided that the people of Earth deserved an opportunity to make it on their own and not be interfered or messed with after years and years of manipulation, control, and unaware enslavement, if you will. I do know the council members were initially completely convinced to take action on Earth's behalf, but there were some issues at hand, and not taking action could certainly have had long-reaching effects on the Andromeda Galaxy. And I wanted to know why. That was the issue for me. I was aware of this information. We had talked about it before in my very early contacts with them, but I wanted to know what this was all about. Why was this a big issue? And so, keep in mind we've got the Milky Way galaxy, which has the 15 quadrants or sectors, if you will, The Andromeda Galaxy has almost double that, with 28. And that represents a lot of human homeworlds where people live. They go about their daily lives, where there's possible cause and effect in terms of interference by aliens. Specifically, in this case, we're talking about reptilians. So I took some time recently, within the past couple weeks, and I asked my Andromeda Council contacts what they had learned and what this was all about. And what many people may or may not know is that the Andromeda Council looked down the timeline to the location and the origin of the places and activities that led to this catastrophic event, somewhere 360 odd years in the future. And they found that those activities led back to this solar system, specifically to Earth, Mars, and the Moon. And what they told me about and showed me is that there is a matching alignment of pyramids on each of these celestial bodies, Earth, Moon, and Mars. And the reptilians have been using these pyramids for years as a reptilian-specific, attenuated, modulated frequency, and as a triangulated beacon from these three celestial bodies, Earth, Moon, and Mars, to lower and keep down the vibration, the frequency of this area of space. You know, this frontier border, if you will, where we are in the spiral arm location of the Milky Way galaxy down around 7 o'clock. And their purpose was to slowly change over time the frequency of this planet, Earth, and the DNA of the human on this planet, to change it to reptilian DNA, to genetically alter humans to be reptilians. And, you know, you and I and a lot of other people know this planet has almost 7 billion people. So we're talking about two things here. An attempted global planetary change of Earth's own frequency and the attempted change of the DNA of humans on Earth. Now, you know, as some people may or may not know, reptilians are known as master geneticists throughout the universe, highly intelligent, among other things. And keep in mind, the Draco and Hydra reptilians are doing this and have done this by frequency and genetics, have altered and conquered other galaxies, other star systems, and other human-type worlds, and other worlds before. They've done it. And so, to point out what may or may not be obvious, the bigger question kept bugging me is, why? This is what I wanted to know. Why would the reptilians do this beside the obvious control of planets, control of resources? I mean, that one's pretty obvious. So I'm asking myself and my Andromeda Council contacts, listen, what's the bigger picture here? There's got to be a bigger picture than the obvious answers. And as a long-time operations guy in much of my business career, I'm thinking, what's going on here? You know, there's got to be a bigger agenda. So what I learned from my Andromeda Council contacts, and believe me, it was disturbing. Think of two words: conversion, transformation. I learned in the recent conversation with the gang upstairs about this topic that the reason the Andromeda Council intervention was so critical, and keep in mind reptilians have been using their reptilian energy frequency-specific technologies for years to create a reptilian energy frequency grid around the whole Milky Way galaxy. Why? To change the frequency of human DNA, not only on planet Earth, but on each human, or, you know, if you will, humanoid planet in the Milky Way galaxy, to make this whole galaxy thoroughly reptilian. So we're talking about the wholesale, complete transformation and conversion of each human planet. And in this process of us having this conversation, they also showed me like this grid, this web, if you will, Think of like a fishing net that's segmented into large nodes with different planets underneath, all receiving reptilian energy frequency at each node and driving it down to the human planets below. So what we're looking at is if the reptilian actions of attempting to change the Earth planetary-wide frequency and the human DNA were allowed to occur based on their goals, not only this planet, but 360 years in the future, approximately, there would have been a simultaneous event, and I'm going to use a metaphor here, where a number of these reptilian-specific low-level energy nodes, think of multiple tumblers in a lock, they would have all synced up together at the same time, bang, and at a moment in time, and the blink of an eye and the snap of a finger, it would have converted the whole Milky Way galaxy and transformed all the human-type planets and all of the humanoid people on those planets, everyone, to a reptilian vibrational frequency and reptilian DNA pattern. If you look at the dots and connect the bigger picture is this issue is not only just about Earth and the 20 other planets that have already been reptilian occupied, and actually 2 others that are just like Earth without the diversity. But I want to let this sink in for people. This catastrophic event, would it have happened? It would have been about the wholesale completion of a long-term conversion and transformation of the whole Milky Way galaxy and all of its inhabited worlds to reptilian ones. Not cool. Not cool at all. And it's like I said, it's been a challenge to absorb this information and learn about it. And I just want to wrap this up by saying, we on Earth, the people of Earth, and other worlds, have been controlled, manipulated, abused. We've been fed upon. We've lost our freedoms. We've lost our essential right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. I'm sure everybody will recognize those words and what they mean. Because we've been used as worker slaves for years in a system that doesn't work, managed on Earth by cruel, self-centered, power-hungry, malicious people called the Cabal or Illuminati or powers that be, who are in fact controlled by the Draco and Hydra reptilians. Far too long. Far too long. I, for one, am glad that this is ending, and I believe that we're blessed. I believe the people of Earth and other planets will be blessed that the Andromeda Council, led by the people of Procyon, stepped in around 10, 11 years ago to intervene on the behalf of the people of Earth, to free the people of Earth. Because, quite frankly, we didn't have the technology, the know-how, the dimensional awareness, if you will, or the ability to fight the reptilians ourselves and win. We just didn't have the tools. And ultimately, the Andromeda Council is not going to allow the complete genocide of various human races in the Milky Way galaxy for all the reasons I just touched on. Including the fact that if this were allowed to happen, it could very well have been the Andromeda Galaxy that the reptilians would have come after next. So, the intervention and the war to free the people of Earth, it couldn't have come at a better time. Especially if you think about the process of evolution, of increasing awareness, increasing vibration that we're all going through right now in order to become a higher dimensional world. I think we're really blessed that they intervened, and now we've got a real opportunity to chart our own future, build new lives without the interference of these malevolent and ruthless, self-absorbed, I don't know, parasitic race like the Draco and Hydra reptilians. We're lucky the people from the Andromeda Council stepped in. I think we're blessed. That's the totality of the story. I could get into some of the finer details, but like I said, it's a serious story, and I felt it really needed to be heard. So thanks for allowing me to share this with everybody.